So, come on, Joe. Is this better tunes now, man?
I like it.
You liking
It's got
it?
a little, it's like electronica Aerosmith without the vocals. It's got a little, it's like
Hang on.
electronica.
There we go. There we go. It was me, as per usual. As per usual. How you doing, guys? How you doing? We're back. Another week in the man cave. A week where we can truly say the world has gone mad. And facts, they don't matter. They're like a Mandela effect. And I can definitely tell you that is how this week has been for me. So I want to welcome you all. I want to thank everyone that tuned into the premiere the other day. I see a lot of the same faces out there. Big shout out to Rob Pappin, one of our listeners, and the guy.
Yeah, man. Great tunes. Good stuff.
Whoa, wait a minute. You're actually saying great tunes.
World renowned Rob Pappin, by the way.
I know.
Renowned.
I know.
Yeah, world over.
We do get some there.
I actually learned of him, reaching out through Facebook. He reached out to me and reached out to you. And I mean, he does some good stuff.
Awesome stuff.
I think he writes software too, doesn't he? Isn't that his creation?
He's got synthesizer software that he writes.
Yeah.
He's got a band that he's in. He lets us use these bits of music. Just an absolutely all-round great guy.
Awesome guy.
Absolutely.
Love him.
So how you doing, Scotty? You're looking good today, man. You've got nice kind of effects going on there, man. What's happening?
Look at him. He's all like Max Headroom and
He's
shit.
pimped out the man cave.
with some black and white wood paneling.
Yes, yeah. I decided to step up the production value just a little bit.
Whoa, Karen. Big thank you to Karen. A new member on the channel. That takes us one member closer to getting the Geordie Rose emoji. Yeah, I thought it might trigger people with a Geordie emoji. So
definitely triggering. Feel it?
You feel it, Joe? You feeling that trigger? Definitely. So listen, folks, Karen has just joined the channel. Now, what that means is she gets access to all those cool emojis that you see people using from time to time. A big shout out to Lee. I see Lee in there. I see Kristen, Just a Guy, Hillary, Ben, Germanus. Somebody called Dick Richards says I need to unban him. But if he's telling me I need to unban him in the chat room,
how are you banned if you're saying that?
Yeah, exactly.
I think you're good to go, Dick. You are good to go, my friend. But guys, before we get started, like I said there, Karen joined the channel. You can find PayPal links in the description. PayPal, always a streamer's best friend, especially at this middle kind of time of the month. But if you want a super chat read out by the crazy AI assistant, and we'll get into it as well, then just drop it in the actual chat.
We got another new member.
Another new member.
Teflon Chic has joined the foray.
Hang on. That's got to be one of the best names I've heard in a long time.
Absolutely, dude.
Teflon Chic. Absolutely fantastic.
If that is not one of the best wrestling names, I don't know what is.
Charlie Robinson in the chat room.
Very nice. Very nice.
Charlie, you need to get on here one night and hang out with us, man, because you're probably just as crazy as us. I would say tonight, but it would take me about another hour to rearrange the cameras. So drop me an email, Charlie, and we will definitely organize a weekend sometime very soon. But guys, I've got absolutely ridiculous story to start with today, right? Ridiculous. Many of you have heard about the hashtag SexStrike that's going on right now.
Yeah.
What is happening?
Has the world gone mad?
Exactly why I called today's show The World Has Gone Mad. Because I'm going through my Twitter today, I'm thinking, what can we talk about tonight? And then trending. You were talking about maybe 100,000 tweets in the past hour or so with the hashtag SexStrike. It says here.
Why?
Yeah.
So what's pushing this? Let me ask you that, Kev. Give us a little background on this.
Well, it's this lassie here, Alyssa Milano. Now, she's basically saying that men shouldn't have the right to make laws over a woman's body and what they do with it, and unwanted pregnancies and all this kind of stuff coming up into it.
I gotta say, I agree with her.
Well, to be honest with you, Joe, I didn't actually read too far into the ins and outs of this story because I got more entertained just looking at the whole hashtag SexStrike. And myself and Scotty, we were looking down some of the tweets earlier on, and it's getting that ridiculous now, right? We're going to dive into it in a minute. We'll see what this Alyssa Milano's been saying. But even other feminists are coming out against this woman, person. I don't know what she wants to be called today.
Oh, hey, Kev, hold on. Mabambo52.
Mabambo
just donated 4 ice creams.
What is that is something else, man. That's a lot of ice cream.
Brian in the chat room says he's been on strike for 8 years. The thing is, most of these women that I've seen today putting up hashtag SexStrike, I would argue that they've probably gone without sex for 8 years as well. It's like I was saying to Joe, you know, it would be almost as futile a move as me saying, well, that's it. I'm going to save the planet from this pesky global warming. I'm not going to fly on any more first-class flights. That's it. I'm done with it, Joe. I'm done with it. And I hear everyone out there going, wow, how many flights does Kev take? None! I don't take any! It's just absolutely pointless. Do you see my point,
no,
folks?
it's not. No, it's not. Kev, you're on strike.
I'm on strike.
That's powerful, Kev.
Right, we're going to go into the sex strike. Here we go.
Okay, go. What do we got?
Well, we're going to get the... I thought her one might actually be top, but it doesn't come up top. So the first one we have here is this sex strike thing is hilarious. But doesn't it reinforce the idea that women are simply playthings and need to put out to get what they want? I feel like Alyssa Milano is feminizing wrong. And that's what me and Scott were saying earlier on as well, right? Because
it's also by the way, it's also bizarre that she would be one of them because she's not exactly known for her she is the opposite of not promiscuous, you know what I'm saying? So
she's not known for her abstinence.
Her abstinence, yes, exactly right. So it kind of surprises me that it's coming from. It's almost very hypocritical, I got to tell you. Unless there's been some sort of life-altering experience that has changed the course, you know. But you don't typically find that of people in Hollywood. You know, that's not the mindset, Scotty.
Well, you know, from what I've gathered, you know, like I don't really follow Alyssa Milano.
Yes, you do.
Yes,
you do, Scott. You're our biggest fan, I heard. I heard you wear your pink hat and you watch everything she says.
You busted, Kev. You busted me. No, but I mean, apparently she, you know, is trying to be this big, you know, feminist activist now, since she's no longer relevant in Hollywood anymore.
Exactly. It's almost like she's trying to gain relevance back by doing something just unbelievably stupid. And the thing is she's right. Philosophically, she's right. No one has any right to tell you what you can and can't do with your body. It's that simple. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. That's the problem that I have with it, is that it has nothing to do with sex, the sex of an individual. It has to do with our rights as sovereign individuals. And it doesn't matter if you're male or female, the same standards should apply.
Big time.
You know, so what the
Can somebody explain? Can somebody explain to me, though, how women don't have legal control over their own body?
Especially since this woman's probably been in just about, you know, half of Hollywood's sack. I'm just saying, it's not like we're talking about a woman of high values and virtues, you know? It's Alyssa Milano. Well, come on.
I like Candace Owens one. I'm not a big Candace Owens fan, but I take the point here. From an evolutionary perspective, the radical feminist hashtag SexStrike has the potential to save America. Yes, ladies, leave the terrible bondage of procreation to us horrible conservatives. Consider me a dear ally, friend, and mentor on your commitment to abstinence. And like I was saying to you, the only bonus I could see out of this is 9 months from now, we won't have any little kind of versions of these people running about in the world. And I know I sound like Bill Gates or Hitler, you know, pushing some eugenics here. If these people don't want to recreate, you know, hey, have at it. Let them have their way, I say, Scott. Although, again, I do think some of the people that are going on strike really don't need to go on strike.
No, it's like I said, it's just they're trying to be more relevant because they're obsolete. They are washed up.
What's wrong with?
And why is it always that especially washed up females feel the need to bash men every time to gain relevance? What the hell is up with that?
I don't know.
You know, why can't it just be a human thing? Why does it have to be male, female? Why does it always have to be that divisive bullshit?
Well, it's because, first of all, it's part of the divide and conquer strategy, right? So they want to pit, you know, black versus white, man versus woman. You know, they're trying to pit different segments of the population against each other.
Right, but human rights are human rights, period. It doesn't matter.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. No, you're absolutely correct. And so, but as you can see, they've taken something that, you know, like you said, philosophically, he's right in the way that nobody should be able to tell anybody else what to do with their body.
Right, human right.
But then here comes the weaponization of it.
Exactly.
It's turned into a male versus female.
And you just want to fucking yell, bitch. You know, you're a fucking bitch.
This one's good. What if Alyssa Milano called for a sex strike and no one came? Oh, wait. I guess that's our goal.
Party hard.
Oh, come on. I couldn't resist it. But I seen
Mike D and D Live chat said that Alicia has not been hot for 30 years.
I would probably agree with that. I also seen her saying that today. I seen her also tweeting them. Historically, sex strikes work, and the one sex strike that was cited was back in the 1600s. So if these things work,
what? 1600s?
It's been 400 years since this effective
Well, you know, you
protest
save
was
that
ever
for the
used.
real occasions when you really need to pull it out, right?
Exactly, dude. Exactly. It is utterly ridiculous. But that's why I like Twitter, because usually you go to the trending topics and you can see all of these meltdowns happening now. Used to be once a week. Now it's once a day. Yesterday, it was just blowing up. There was people just making assholes of themselves all over the place. You had these big YouTubers. They were all getting bust for sending junk pictures. Or there was another guy. Well, I don't know if he's a guy, but he puts makeup on. James Charles, never heard of the dude. 15 million followers. But he goes about trying to turn straight guys gay. So they can get pictures of his junk. And then he wonders why everyone's starting to unsubscribe from him. I don't get what's happening in the world. I just don't get it. The world's broke. Like I say, the world has gone fucking mad.
It has indeed. So let's see. Since you're on this, the world has gone effing mad topic. Let's see what we got here.
Well, I think this one probably fits in best. Like, look, just make sure I've got the right one here, Joe.
Are you sure?
Yes, here it is. Here, I think this is the best one to go to next.
Let me see if we're thinking the same thing.
Google releases 53 gender-neutral emojis to challenge that man-centered culture.
Oh, I mean, what the fuck, man?
Who do we go to fight? Can we go and fight somebody about this? Is there something we can do, Scott?
You know, I mean, this is ridiculous. And, you know, when's it going to get to the point to where when you open up your emoji tab, like it crashes your computer because there's an infinite amount of like gender neutral emojis to choose from?
Yeah.
Screw it. You know, I mean,
listen, saying these ones in the middle, these ones in the middle are meant to be they're meant to be non-gender, Scott, the ones in the middle. I'm sorry, but that one looks like a chick. That one looks like a chick.
They all
that
look
one
like a
looks
chick.
like a chick. So what?
What? Just because they got like curly hair or like what does that have to do with anything?
You know what they look like to me, guys?
What?
Cartoons.
Yeah, they do. They look like cartoons, but You know, it's this whole pushing sexuality out. Yeah. You know, the whole pop culture pushing of sexuality. What the hell? You know, and then what was it? A couple of actresses out there caught my eye recently because they were interviewed about their child, and I'm talking like child's young children, young, like toddlers. And they're talking about, oh, we're raising them gender neutral, or we're raising them transgendered. What? I mean, when that child becomes an adult and you didn't look out for that child and protect them, they are going to be so effing pissed at you for not protecting their sexuality and allowing that to happen and or forcing it on them. There's going to come a time where they confront that shit. You know, if they want to do that and they're adults, so be it. Let them do it. That's their own life. But until they become adults, you know, you got to keep the slate as clean as possible. You know, it's our only responsibility as parents, really, if you think it's the primary one. You know, protect their innocence for as long as humanly possible. And I can't understand for the life of me why these crazies out there want to freaking sexualize their children, their toddlers, their infants, for God's sake. It's nuts.
Dude, I seen a Victoria's Secret. I think it was Victoria's Secret doing a children's lingerie show.
Yeah, what the fuck are they doing?
Now, don't get me wrong, it could have been fake. I don't know. I just seen the link. I refused to click it. It was on Facebook, but
yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me if it is true. Put it that way.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, we're in bizarro world right now. Right?
Big time.
We're at a point to where something like that, you know, it probably did happen, Kev. More than likely, it probably happened as opposed to it being fake. That's the point we're at right now.
You know,
I mean, it's insane.
Even though like we're sexualizing the kids and things, right? Bad.
Yeah.
Now you would think to yourself then, though, further down the road, well, you know, fair enough. You know, they'll have made choices, good or bad. But do you know what I think this is eventually leading to? Maybe not 5 years down the road, maybe not 10, but a bit longer. The fact that we just will not be making babies the way that we have done for thousands of years.
You mean like Demolition Man type of thing?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I think normal.
Where you put on the thingy?
I don't know how they're going to do it, but I think normal.
Fit into your head?
I think normal reproduction and heterosexual relationships are almost going to be considered dirty.
Yeah, everybody's issued standard issue sex robots.
And then maybe you get like win a lottery from the state to have like you can like come off the contraceptive for 3 months or something like that. You can abstain from the SexStrike, you know.
Oh.
Even then, you know, it's if you want to have a child or whatever, you roll up to the facility, and they'll
now, you know, like Brave New World, especially like the bad BBC movie, which I highly recommend to everybody. If you haven't read the book, read the book. But if you want to see a good version of it that's really entertaining at the same time, is the BBC version. It happened about 79 or 1980. And they have rotary dial birth control belts. No shit. Like it's a rotary dial phone, but they're their birth control belts. And but there's no monogamy in Brave New World in this movie. No monogamy. It's just very like sexual liberation movement of the 60s type of attitude, very cavalier. And so it's something I would highly recommend people watch. But same idea, you know, you basically have these birth control devices that limit or eliminate natural childbirth, and then everybody's born in test tubes, and they're genetically engineered so that you have specific classes of society already engineered that way, you know, where you have the alphas and the betas and the epsilons, and they each have their specific role and they're engineered for that role.
Yep.
Saying,
absolutely.
You know, that's kind of where I see it going, is more of you know, babies being produced on an assembly line,
right,
as opposed to being produced naturally, you know. And so if you want to have a child or whatever, first of all, do you get approved to have a child? And then you go up to the facility and then you kind of tell them the traits you want. You get your designer baby made, and then they'll grow it in a test tube, and then you'll go and you pick up your child when it's ready to be born or whatever from the facility.
Yeah.
Well, you're right, and I'm not going to show the picture on this, but this was 2 years ago. There was one from last year as well. So whether they've stopped it now or not, I don't know. But it says here, as you can see, girls as young as 5 in a controversial Victoria's Secret lingerie show for children.
What are they doing to these kids? You know, we always hear that, it's for the children, it's for the children. Look we shouldn't be doing this to the children. We shouldn't, okay? It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you believe and everything else. Again, our only real responsibility as parents, if you think about it, the main one, numero uno, protect the innocence of the child. And how is that protecting the innocence of a child? Think about it too, especially when you talk about how rampant pedophilia has become and how dangerous it is, especially in those upper crust circles. You know, it's bad stuff. Bad stuff.
Very bad stuff. Waiting for a super chat to come through here. Hopefully it'll come through in a little second.
Okay.
It's from Cypherdine. And Cypher is saying, right twaticles. I like that. Twaticles. I'll just need to scroll up here. Get Dr. Edward Dutton on the show. Who's Dr. Edward Dutton?
Who's that?
We'll need to Google this character, I think.
Yeah, we'll have to see who that cat is. I've got to tell you, man, we've gotten some really good stuff from the chat.
We always do, dude. Always do.
You know,
always.
You hear a lot about trolling and the people trolling chats and things like that. We just don't get it. Not to mention the fact that we've got some mods that are just on point.
Big time. You can't thank the mods enough. And I was telling all the mods to get their weapons sharpened for the other night. I thought the militant Christian crew might come into the Geordie Rose stream like they did in the TFR chat room, but they didn't.
Yeah.
And it was constantly just people enjoying the information. Maybe not everyone agreed with it, but that's okay because it was respectful and it wasn't just hating on people just because it happened to put holes in certain conspiracies out there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And again, that's another reason why I kind of chose the title for today's show. You know, facts don't matter, because you look around YouTube, folks, look where we are. Go and tell me if facts matter on this website. Honestly, tell me. They really don't. And if you want to gain any real traction, you have to be as stupid, as immature, and lie through your teeth as much as you can. And the bigger you'll get. Guess we're just going to stay at this size then, guys.
Yeah, right.
Big time. I don't know why that super chat didn't come through. I'm going to have to test something here. Hold on 2 seconds, folks. Right, so it is working. Yeah. I didn't just subscribe. It's a test.
You did it. Hey, good job, buddy.
It works on this screen, so I'll need to copy
little
this
love,
one.
Little self-love.
Little self-love. Delete that, and we'll put the... There we go. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. Hang on. Go back here. Get that alert box. Copy it. We're doing it on the fly. We're doing it on the fly.
Yes, we're doing it on the fly.
That's it, right? It's in now. So we'll test the subscriber here.
Okay.
The right one. Works there. Oh, none on there, so we'll paste one in here, eh?
Uh-oh.
Paste duplicate.
Boy, oh boy, look at you.
Subscription. There we go. See, we're jamming now. We're jamming. Sorted. So yeah, what was the name, Dr. Dutton?
Dr. Edward Dutton.
Dutton. Edward Dutton, indeed.
Sounds kind of British.
He does a little bit. As long as he's not as bad as that Kinsey dude.
Yeah.
Edward.
Yeah, but Dutton sounds like pip, pip, cheerio, I eat blood pudding in the mountain.
Edward Dutton is an anthropologist who teaches at the University of OULU in Finland.
Finland. Boy, were we off.
Yeah. Adjunct adjunct professor, has a degree in theology from Durham University, and a PhD in religious studies from the University of Aberdeen. Oh, must be very, very intelligent. And he studied in Scotland, Joe. You know.
Oh, must be.
Yeah, it just has to be. Yeah, just has to be, dude. Has to
probably
be,
probably was classmates with Nicholas.
Mr. Nicholas Sturgeon. So where next then, Joe? Or Scott?
Because we were talking about. Let's see, where was I going to go with this now? Because I'm all. So you went transgendered. I mean, gender neutral.
Well, I haven't gone transgender yet, but the doctor's given me the tablets.
Absolutely. And we were talking about the crazies, right? And how there's crazies out there that are all about pushing narratives and things like that. Well, I found another crazy. And of course, it's one of the crazies we like to discuss quite often on this live stream. And of course, I'm talking about the one, the only, Mr. Paul Begley.
Oh, no.
That's right, folks.
Oh.
May the 11th, 2019, and by cracky, the world's going to end again.
Give me a second, man. I need to get it up. You absolute
let me tell you something. Again, this is the problem. So you got Hooger Beats, right? You got Begley.
You got Secure Team 10.
Secure Team 10. Who else?
Scott Waring.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
This gaggle of experts that repeatedly get published by the Express, which only tells me that they're being paid for content like this, which means that they're generating it for clicks, which means it's total bunkum bullshit, which is why we'll tear it up. So anyway, Bible prophecy. Are we witnessing the end of the world? It's Jerusalem's cry. Dun, dun, dun. That's right. Now, Express is writing, plagues of locusts, frequent asteroid flybys, and conflict in the Middle East are all evidence the world is approaching collapse, according to some militant Christians. One of the main purveyors of this doomsday claim is evangelist Paul Begley from West Lafayette, Indiana. The Christian preacher is a fervent believer in biblical prophecy, which, to be quite honest with you, he can't be a fervent believer because the guy gets it wrong every time. So if you're a fervent believer, I got to think you'd have a better grasp on it than what he does.
Facts don't matter, Joe. Facts don't matter whether the world's ending or not.
That's right. When it comes to clicks, don't let the facts get in the way of a good story.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. Okay. This is what we're talking about.
He's constantly and frequently urging his followers, I love that, his followers, to prepare for the second coming. Now, the doomsday prophet has warned humanity is living out its last days as plagues of crop-devouring grasshoppers descend on Saudi Arabia. Listen to this. Pastor Begley said, quote, unbelievable information. The locust is multiplying 20 times more than it was. It's expanding. It's taking over the Middle East. What? Can we get a song? And what does the Bible say about locusts crawling out of the bottomless pit in the final days? Saudi Arabia is plagued with locusts. Ha! It's Jerusalem's cry. We're in the last days. Oh, boy.
Again.
Now, earlier this month, he's talking about the plague of locusts of biblical proportions that descended on Saudi Arabia and flooded across the border into Jordan. And on Friday, May 3rd, the United Nations Locust Watch Tracker warned hordes of desert locusts were breeding in Saudi Arabia and Iran. The agency said several swarms moved to Najran, Saudi Arabia, in the past few days. A few small adult groups moved from eastern Yemen to northern Oman, where they laid eggs in April and limited control operations were conducted. Small-scale breeding is expected to continue in Oman, according to Pastor Begley. This, my friends, is evidence of a doomsday prophecy described in the book of Revelation.
Well, Joe, Adam Sarah in the chat room says apparently they go to Saudi every year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just saying, don't let the facts get in the way of a good story.
So this is like an occult holiday, only it's like a clickbaiter's holiday. When the locusts land.
I'm not done. I got to see what his justification is here. Here we go. The book of Revelation, of course, being the final book of the Bible, describes the world's ultimate demise at the hands of God. The U.S. preacher, in particular, pointed to a passage in Revelations chapter 9, which prophesies swarms of deadly locusts emerging from the grounds in the end days. By the way, locusts swarm every year. And, you know, it's not, this is not something that's, when it says biblical, it's biblical, right? Now, the Bible passage reads, the fifth angel sounded his trumpet, and I saw a star that had fallen from the sky to the earth. And the star was given the key to the shaft of the abyss. And when he opened the abyss, smoke rose out from it like the smoke from a gigantic furnace. Which, by the way, have we seen anything like that yet? No, can't say I have. Okay.
Not even a CGI.
Now, the sun and sky were darkened by the smoke of the abyss. Has the sun and sky been darkened? I got to tell you, today was probably the most picture-perfect day that ever there was. I mean, it was absolutely gorgeous, Kev. I spent all day. It's going to rain its ass off for the next 3 days. But today was beautiful. I mean, the sky was never bluer. You know, the trees were out, the birds were singing. Oh, it was fantastic.
My good friend Charlie says the world will come to an end when Begley finally gets something right.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, it is as opposite of the end of the world as it could possibly be today. You know? And it said, out of the smoke, locusts came down on the earth and were given power like that of scorpions of the earth. So, okay, so that would mean like what? They're venomous. They maybe sting, they hurt, they bite, they do something. Now, have I heard of any like locusts with venomous bites or anything like that? No. Nothing like that. And it says, they were told not to harm the grass of the earth or any plant or tree, but only those people who did not have the seal of God on their foreheads. Well, apparently everybody in Saudi Arabia has the seal of God because nobody died as a result of this plague of locusts.
Those pesky locusts.
That's right. So in Pastor Begley's modest, humble, because he's very humble.
Very, Joe.
Yeah.
Very
humble opinion. He says that the book of Revelation is currently unfolding in the Middle East. Now, this is what he said. He says, this is the end time. Ha! These plagues of locusts, these plagues that are on Saudi Arabia, these plagues that came on Mecca, why, these plagues that are headed to the Red Sea are a precursor of the last days. Ooga booga. I just embellished there. He didn't say ooga booga.
He did.
Okay, maybe he did. Now, what does the Bible say about the end of the world? According to the Billy Graham of the Billy Graham Evangelist Association, the world will come to pass on the day God himself decides our time is up. Now that sounds pretty good. I like that.
And doesn't it say in the Bible that nobody will? What was that?
Nothing.
That nobody
what? Knows the end, the time, the day, the season, anything. It's called, when it happens, it's going to be really bad and really fast. So let's take a look at history, right? Randall Carlson does a great job of doing that. And what does it show? It shows that throughout history, there have been cataclysms that have happened, what? Suddenly and unexpectedly, and just boom, mass destruction and chaos, and man gets knocked back to the Stone Age.
Oh, but come on, Joe, come on. There's a bit to this story you haven't added in yet. Let's do the man some justice.
What's that?
Vultures have died in the Golan Heights, and this is seemingly a prophecy as well, right? I don't remember reading that in the Bible. I don't know.
No. Well, you know, like I said, it's just, you got to throw some things in there that it's kind of like icing on the cake. You know, you got the cake, it's all good, but boy, it's so much better with icing or vultures.
There was a speaking of vultures, there was a motorcyclist that was killed here in Kansas because a vulture hit him.
Whoa.
Really?
Yeah. He was just riding on his motorcycle and a vulture just flew out of nowhere.
Do you think he was smelling a death? Do you think he was ready for the off, man?
Yeah, maybe he was like, you know what? I'm going to get a little aggressive on this one.
I'm not waiting for you. I can tell you're going to go in a car crash soon, so I'm just going to come and get you now, punk. That's it, man. Dude had like an aroma coming off him, man.
That's so funny.
What are the odds of that? Like, just being nailed by a vulture while you're riding on your motorcycle.
Maybe that'd be a good way of knowing if you're like about to go or not. If you had like a pet vulture, if it started like getting a bit frisky, you know, you might think to yourself, "Oh shit, I'm giving that smell off, man."
Yeah,
I'm smelling like I'm ready to go, dude.
Now, poor Dick Richards in the chat room says, "All your mocking lips will soon be silenced by God's truth." Okay, yes, of course it will. And by the way, there's absolutely no mocking.
Trust me, if God's going to be coming after anyone, I think Begley might need to worry before
myself. Yeah, he better watch
Joe,
it because, you know, it's funny. There is a biblical passage that talks about people that lead the flock astray and how it would be better for a millstone to be tied around one's neck than to be doing that. So, and cast into the sea.
He better,
to be doing that.
Yeah, watch doesn't get knocked off a push bike by a vulture, dude.
Yeah. So I've got no. I don't do that stuff for clicks.
Maybe we should send the Marvel's League of Exorcists after him because I think he might be possessed, Mr. Begley.
I would have to agree with you there.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think he's doing the big man's work, shall we say. I wouldn't claim I'm doing the big man's work. I'm just me, but I ain't going about telling people the world's going to end every 2 days.
You know what's funny?
What I mean?
The big man decides who does his work. We don't even decide that.
Do we not, Joe? We just know.
It just ends up happening. You know? That's the thing that's crazy about
I'm quite liking this side shed thing you've got going on today, man. You look rather intelligent with this kind of hair thing happening, Joe. I'm used to seeing you a bit more bald than that, dude.
I'm pretty intelligent right now.
Yes, you're looking like Professor Joe today.
Yeah, very nice.
Right, Begley's done. Can we leave Begley out of the live streams from now on? This character gets enough views as it is without us giving him any airtime, man.
Begley watch.
See, 29,000 views on vultures dying in the Golan Heights. Facts don't matter. And if facts do matter, are you telling me 29,000 people are honestly waiting to hear about birds dying on top of a hill?
How about
crazy, man.
So you want another serious story? Let's get serious for a second.
Okay then. Okay. Oh god.
Because to me this is pretty serious stuff. Now
I've got that many tabs open. Give me a warning, man.
Well, before we go, Austin James just followed us in D Live. So
very nice. Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Austin.
So, Kev, let's go to the smoking gun, where police found something very interesting when conducting a search. In what may be a U.S. record, according to the smoking gun, a Florida woman had stashed 7 inside her body's orifice, 7 syringes, when she was booked into county jail late Tuesday evening. Police were called to a Burger King on May 7th in reference to a female snarling and yelling at the staff.
I bet you she was snarling.
Now, I'll bet you. The suspects, cops were told, was refusing to leave the Largo restaurant. And when the officers arrived, they detected several indicators of narcotics usage on the part of of Jemmy Westcott. The 35-year-old Westcott consented to a search of her property and her person. During a pat-down, Westcott pulled away as an officer searched the right side of her groin area. The cop reported feeling something hard in the vagina area. And while refusing to identify the item, Westcott reportedly uttered she effed up. Now, Westcott, investigators said, was given many opportunities on the scene to tell deputies what the contraband was in her vagina, but she refused. Warned that she would face additional charges if the contraband was introduced into the jail. Still, she refused. And it was only after Westcott was at the Pinellas County lockup that she relented and removed 7 syringes from her vagina.
Wow.
The syringes had a clear substance inside. She did not identify what that was. Westcott, who lives in St. Petersburg, was charged with possession of drug paraphernalia and resisting an officer without violence, both misdemeanors, and was released after posting $5,300 bond. Now,
good job, Florida. Good job, Florida. Living up to your name.
7 syringes. Whew. Ouch.
I mean, I remember doing the old security work. That was one of my biggest fears. Seen it happening to a couple of guys getting a kind of needle injury. But I can safely say I never came across anybody that had gone this far to try and kind of hide stuff.
Yeah, man. And like, why are you walking around a Burger King with those in there?
What
like,
the hell?
What are you doing? And I get it. Okay, you're snarling. Yeah, probably. You got syringes in there. That's not good.
That can't be good.
No. So that's the question then, is why is a person in Burger King with these in her vagina?
Because the world has gone mad. I don't get it either, dude. I don't get it either. I really don't get it. I mean, we don't know what was in them, but it doesn't really matter because nothing can like justify filling your hoo-hoo up with syringes and then going to Burger King.
And Kev, it's not like the cops were there and then she stashed it to hide it.
Yeah, that'd be different. Like panic mode. Where'd I put it?
Right.
No, that's totally different. I get that, Joe.
It's like
totally.
they were there before.
Can we encourage this one to go on the sex ban? Hashtag SexStrike. I think all guys.
That's what it is, dude.
All guys should say hashtag don't go near.
Come on over.
Can you imagine like if she forgot to remove said contraband and
that's what I'm saying. Maybe that was her boyfriend,
and her boyfriend decided to get a little frisky and oh boy.
Oh yeah. See, hashtag SexStrike.
Whoa. Hashtag wouldn't go near it. Dang.
That's right, because I mean it's like a barbed vagina. That's not good.
A barbed vagina.
Ouchie.
Holy hell, I've never heard that before. A barbed vagina.
Yeah, or like the cheese grater.
They I think it's in Africa or something. They've invented this anti-rape device.
That's right. Yeah, they're nasty. It's all part of that. They do a lot of mutilation over there of the sexual organs. It's really sick.
There's some sick things going on.
That the women stick up there, and then if they were to get somebody attempted to rape them or something, it would basically latch on to the guy, and he'd have to go and get it removed at the hospital because it has like backwards barbs.
What's it like? Is it like a bear trap?
Yeah, well, I guess. It's like those things to where the more you try to remove it, the more it digs in.
Oh, like one of those Chinese finger traps.
Yeah, but it's got like barbs. I don't know.
Is this it here, Scott? Is this it here? Rape X, the South African anti-rape condom. There it is.
Is that
what
right?
It is. Yeah,
Let's see that thing.
Oh,
wow.
Man.
Ouchie. Oh, I see. It's got the barbs facing this way, so if you try to pull it off, it just rips.
Oh man. Listen, I'm going to get tears in my eyes if I have to look at that any longer. Wow.
That thing is bad.
Hey, that's a very, very intimidating deterrent for anybody out there that might be thinking about doing something.
Damn.
Oh, make you think twice if you're going to try and.
That would, absolutely.
That's brutal, dude. That's a brutal thing right there.
Knowing that product is out there and that women could potentially be utilizing that's a very good deterrent for rapists.
Do not show Alyssa Milano this device, or else we could have weaponized the GGs before too long, boys.
You believe that, dude? What a mighty terrorist weapon right there. Oh my God, weaponized vaginas. And for those fetish people out there, weaponized vajankles.
Don't forget the vajankle.
That's right, Fred. Don't be touching my vajankle.
Oh.
My vajankle. Ha! Gotcha.
Oh, I tell you what, though, right? With all this talk, you have to.
And for the record, I've never tried to hump Angie's ankles. Just so you know.
At least not without our permission, anyway.
That's right. Exactly.
Anne just told
so
me
never,
about
never,
you, dude.
never like that.
Anne just told me all about you, dude. You've got some serious kinks, man. I'm telling you. But anyway, it says here, right? The age of rage. Are we really living in angrier times, boys? Are we? In a world in which populists whip up anger that spreads on social media, it's easy to conclude that we have never been more furious. By Oliver Burkeman. Well, let's just see what this verse says here. It's a standard observation that the world is getting angrier and more insane. But the truth is that taking the emotional temperature of an entire era is a mug's game. For one thing, it's almost impossible to get the necessary historic perspective. Road rage, for example, feels like a modern phenomenon until you learn that in 1817, Lord Byron was reported to the police for delivering a swinging box on the ear to a fellow in a carriage who was impudent to my horse. It's also easy to overlook the ways that you've changed as an individual. I certainly remember life in the early 80s as less frustrating. That's because people weren't going on SexStrike. But that's surely just because I lived a child's life of leisure, all expenses paid. Still, the best data we have suggests that overall, we are indeed getting angrier. Last year, 22% of respondents around the world told Gallup organisation they felt angry, a record since the question was first asked back in 2006. And something else, even harder to measure, feels like it's different as well. It's as though our anger has curdled, gone rancid. As a society, we seem not to express it and move on, but to stew
it's darker,
in it. Yeah, until at the extremes it hardens into violence and hate. There is something different, I think, and I, just looking around me, I would say people are a bit angrier. But just my own opinion.
Yeah, a lot of passive-aggressive anger.
Yeah. Big time.
I would have to say that. Yeah, a lot of repressed anger, I think.
What do you think, Scotty?
I also think maybe we should sort of correct the title of that. And instead of calling it the age of rage, we should call it the age of manufactured rage.
Yes.
Thank you. Very much so. Yeah.
Because I think a lot of this anger that we're seeing amongst people is manufactured. And it's
absolutely.
It's projected
because think about it. You talk about manufactured rage. When Michael Brown was shot down by the cops and there was national rage going on, where they were really pushing the whole cops versus blacks, cops versus yellow, cop versus low class. It's all that kind of stuff, right? And they the news was hyping all these rallies and things like that. And then you come to find out, you go to the grocery store and you interact in your hometown and your surrounding areas, and nothing's going on, and no one's fighting each other, and nothing of that nature is happening. But you see on the news all the manufactured stuff, and then you say, "Wow, manufactured." Because why? They're just choosing to put it on the news and give it airtime? No, because whoever's doing this are hiring crowds from these crowd hiring organizations and companies, and they're manufactured crowds. They're people getting paid to go do this stuff and to protest. They're not actually people who are pissed. They're just people who are looking to make a buck. They're taking advantage of the poor. By, Daniel, here's $15 an hour. It's more than you'll ever make. Just go out there and raise hell. And they do it. And that's the thing, is that it's all manufactured, just like you said.
Have you guys ever heard of something called the mouse utopia experiment?
Yeah, it's called Rat Park experiments. Yeah.
Is that the one we've looked at before?
Yep.
The one with the cocaine and things?
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah. No, it was Cypher in the chat room. He'd been asking us, or he'd been mentioning it. I seen him mentioned it before. and I forgot to look into it. So yeah, we have talked about. I think you talked about that last week, did you not, Joe?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I did. Yeah, absolutely.
What is it? If you offer them Coke, they'll end up taking the Coke. But then if you offer them a choice of both.
So what happened is, of course, you have a control, and then you have the experiment itself. So the control is an empty cage, and you put the rats in the cage. And in the cage, there's two feeders. There's a water feeder and then a cocaine water feeder. And over time, the rats every time chose the cocaine water feeder over the water feeder. And they all eventually died of overdose and stuff like that. They just drugged themselves to death. And then in the other cage, you had the same two feeders, a water feeder and a cocaine feeder, and you put the rats in, only this time they put mates in. They put entertainment in the form of like this rat amusement park with wheels and all sorts of things for them to do. And what they come to find out is, in that cage, the rats went for the water every time and stayed away from the cocaine water. Why? Because they weren't trying to, they were satisfied. So they didn't feel like drugging their sorrows away. You know what I mean? Just like human beings. When people medicate, they're typically trying to numb some sort of pain. But that pain doesn't necessarily have to be physical. And often it's not. Oftentimes, when people are what you call addicts, they're trying to mute or numb an emotional or spiritual type of pain, a mental type of pain. You know, they're trying to fill a cup with a hole in the bottom of it. And that's really what the rat park experiment proved, is that addiction isn't just about getting high. It has everything to do with filling a void. And when that void is gone, when you're fulfilled, you don't want to fill it with that because it's filled. You feel fulfilled. So that's the whole thing. And they don't want you to know that, because when you look at it that way, it shows that the war on drugs is a complete and total scam, and that the best way to combat that is to identify or provide services for people that are struggling, that need help. You identify what that source of pain is, or that void, and you seek to correct it. You know, whether it be training, you know, to get a better job, or maybe it's relationship based. You know, there's a whole number of things. Maybe it's depression. You don't know what it is. But oftentimes people look to medicate it away. You know, that's why I hate the whole idea, because, you know, when you talk about SexStrike and this whole women have a right to do what they want with their bodies. Everybody has a right to do with what they should or want to do with their bodies. And I believe that if you want to use whatever natural substance God has put on this earth, you should be able to do so. And the government shouldn't have a say in it at all. At all. Especially if it's a moral objection. It just, to me, it's absolutely counterproductive, and only drives people to A, want to do it more because you can't do it, which is what people do. Anybody that has kids knows that. Anybody that was a kid knows that. And then it forces people to go to the streets where you can't get the safety, the quality that you would get if it was legal. You know, you can't measure dosages. That's why people overdose. If you got it from a legal place, if it was prescribed to you or you bought it, then you could get an antidote along with it, because that's what you do. You'd get Narcan along with your opioid or whatever it is, your cocaine or whatever it is you want to use. You know, but these things are all there. You could eliminate, if you have the right philosophy and the right approach, and not the every tool in the toolbox is a hammer approach, then you can eliminate all that shit, all the overdoses, everything.
Well, check this out as well, because this is another kind of spin on it. Cypher came back to us It says how the 1960s mouse utopias led to grim predictions for the future of humanity. So it's not a long article, so we'll just go through this here. It's quite interesting. What does utopia look like for mice? According to a researcher who did most of his work in the 1950s through the 70s, it might include limitless food, of course, multiple levels, and secluded little rodent condos. These were all part of John Calhoun's experiments to study the effects of population density on behaviour. But what looked like rat utopias and mouse paradises at first quickly spiralled out of control, overcrowding, eventual population collapse, and seemingly sinister behaviour patterns. Sounds familiar, but not with mice. The mice were not nice. It says here, for IO9, that is, Esther Ingalls Arkell writes about Calhoun's 25th habitat and the experiment that followed. At the peak population, most mice spent every living second in the company of hundreds of other mice. They gathered in the main squares, waiting to be fed and occasionally attacking each other. Few females carried pregnancies to term, and the ones that did seemed to simply forget about their babies. They'd move half their litter away from danger and forget the rest. Sometimes they'd drop and abandon a baby while they were carrying it. A few secluded spaces housed a population Calhoun called the beautiful ones. Now generally guarded by one male, the females and a few males inside the space didn't breed or fight or do anything but eat and groom and sleep. When the population started declining, the beautiful ones were spared from violence and death, but had completely lost touch with social behaviours, including having sex or caring for their young. So Calhoun's experiments, which started with rats, an outdoor pen, and moved on to mice at the National Institute of Mental Health during the 1960s, were interpreted at the time as evidence of what could happen in an overpopulated world. The unusual behaviours he observed were dubbed behavioural sinks. Now, after Calhoun wrote about his findings in a 1962 issue of Scientific American, that term caught on in popular culture, according to a paper published in the Journal of Social History. The work tapped into the era's feeling of dread that crowded urban areas heralded the risk of moral decay, and events like the murder of Kitty Genovese, though it was misreported, only served to intensify that worry. A host of science fiction works, books like Soylent Green, comics like 2000 AD, played on Calhoun's ideas and those of his contemporaries. The work also inspired the 1972 children's book Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim, which was also made into a 1982 film, The Secret of Nim. It says down here, now the interpretations of Calhoun's work has changed. Ingalls Arkell explains that the habitats he created weren't really overcrowded, but the isolation enabled aggressive mice to stake out territory and isolate the beautiful ones. She writes, instead of a population problem, one could argue that Universe 25 had a fair distribution problem. But we can take comfort in the face that humans are not mice. It goes on to say here that ultimately rats suffer from crowding. Human beings can cope, Ramsden says. Calhoun's research was seen not only as questionable, but also as dangerous. Another researcher, Jonathan Friedman, turned to study actual people. They were just high school and university students, but definitely human, and his work suggested a different interpretation. Moral decay could arise, quote, not from density, but from excessive social interaction, Ramsden says. Not all of Calhoun's rats had gone berserk. Those who managed to control space led relatively normal lives. So that's quite interesting, the fact that when we start having a population as big as it is, when we're interacting with as many people as we do a day now, albeit probably mostly in the digital world, it's going to have an effect, right?
I have to imagine so.
Yep. So I thank Cypher for that one. That was quite interesting. That was another kind of take on the old mouse thing, Joe. Where now, boys? Where now?
'Tis a good question. What else do we
Well, I
have
know what we've got
in the
because...
grab bag? Let's go to space, shall we?
And then after space, let's go to Scott, because Scott had a good story from last night that we didn't get
to.
Yeah.
Why don't we do that first?
Yeah, let's do it, Scott. Let's do it. I need to find the link here now. It's all right, Scott. You start it up and I'll find the link.
Yeah.
Dude.
I'll just drop it real quick.
I've got it.
Okay. So yeah, I saw this. This should kind of, well, I mean, this is just a really good example of authoritarianism and you know, just what can happen when you live in a totalitarian, you know, authoritarian dictatorship a la China, because this is where it happens. This is what happened. Tencent, the game company Tencent, replaced the game PUBG. And for those who don't know, PUBG is called Player Unknown Battlegrounds.
Yep.
It's the game. It's the game that started the whole
Battle Royale.
Battle Royale game mode that's so popular right now and spun off so many other games, you know, Fortnite being one of them. But this is the OG. This is the original game that started it all. So Tencent, I guess the distributor of the game, replaced PUBG in China with a game called Game for Peace, which is hilarious and terrifying all at once.
Is that right?
Yes.
Game for Peace. Why do I get the feeling that has nothing to do with it?
Exactly. You want to talk about an Orwellian title?
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Yeah. So it says here, Tencent was never able to get the Chinese government to greenlight PUBG, one of the biggest video games in the world, but one which the Chinese government deemed overly gory. And I find that interesting because that game is really not that bloody. I mean,
we've played that, Scott. We've played it. It's not like there's guts hanging out. There's nothing. There's a pink mist. Just a wee pink mist, and that's it.
Yeah, just a little red puff when you shoot somebody. It's not even... yeah, you know... So they deemed it overly gory. And it says the Korean Battle Royale game has been a huge hit. And its mobile version, developed by Tencent, is actually quite good as well. Still, the communist Chinese government has been cracking down on games more than ever recently. And after over a year of trying, Tencent gave up. Or rather, the massive Chinese publisher simply replaced PUBG.
Those pesky Chi-Com.
Exactly, and you know, being that the distributor or the publisher is a Chinese company, you know, then they're like, okay, let's see what we can do here. So it says they replaced PUBG with a copycat developed in-house called Game for Peace. According to a Reuters report, the game is virtually identical to PUBG, but with a few key differences. Users on Tencent's giant gaming platform, Weibo, noticed that PUBG was gone, but when they logged into Game of Peace, they discovered that all their content was still intact. The game was now more patriotic, and all the blood and gore had been removed. So they just removed the red puffs.
Somebody in the chat room, Scott, says, does it mess with your social credit score if you don't play by the state's good karma rules?
Exactly, I don't know. Yeah.
What a good
exactly. But it was still basically the same game, is what it says. It's almost exactly the same.
No, it's not the same game. Those pesky Chi-Com have bloody gone and done that to what they've done to Red Dawn as well. Remember they had to put off Red Dawn, the remake, because the Chi-Com were all over it, you know? They own Hollywood now, Joe. Those pesky Chi-Com.
They're buying up all the real estate. They bought up Hollywood.
Russia isn't the problem. Chi-Com.
They own the Grand Canyon now.
Oh, hang on now. The algorithm might recognize that we're impersonating somebody that's been unpersoned. I apologize, Algo. I apologize.
So it says IHS Market Games analyst Chu Chinyu told Reuters, the gameplay, the background, the graphic design, and the characters are almost all the same. Tencent, meanwhile, said that they were very different genres of games. So Tencent's just trying to act like it's an entirely new game, that it's completely different than PUBG. This is which isn't surprising given the stakes. He says, I didn't expect that once I updated it to Game of Peace. It returned me back to the same level. Reuters reports that one Weibo user saying, the game changed its name and became very socialist to gain approval. The funniest thing about this, other than the Orwellian game title, is that blood and gore has been replaced entirely, and not just in a cartoony Fortnite way. You literally can't kill people in Game of Peace.
What? Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. Like you're immortal.
That's Islander.
I'm going to die of laughter.
I'm going to infinitely laugh at you. Ha 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 ha.
So if we go and get like a Chinese IP, Scott, could we like log in and get ourselves this like friendlier version of a Game of Peace? You know?
Yeah, I think so.
Hey, people in the chat room, but Scott, people in the chat room are saying, you know, things like this, it's a distraction. You know, absolutely anything can be a distraction if you let it be. You know, how are you meant to keep your eyes on everything going on in the world all at one time? If you're watching one thing, you're distracted from another. This whole distraction kind of thing, I don't get it. I don't get it at all, because there's no way anyone in the world can keep their eyes and their attention on everything going on anyway.
I don't see how it's a distraction, because this is extremely relevant to probably what's going to be coming to the U.S. eventually. I mean, this is a very.
I mean, we don't have social credit scores, do we?
Well, those pesky Chi-Com are coming, Joe.
The Chi-Com, they're here, dude. It's just soft Chi-Com implementation.
This is a very good example of how a government or an authoritarian system can stifle the artistic choices of a game company or anybody, right? I mean, because that's what I consider video games an art. You're creating a game. You've put it out there.
You're biased.
And the government has deemed it unacceptable, right?
The Chinese government there has, right? That's what yeah, absolutely.
The Chinese government has deemed this game unacceptable and basically forced them to go and change it to basically glorify the state.
Which, of course, I mean, over there, that's what they do.
Yes, they do.
It's always been that way. I mean, it's the whole authoritarian thing. And
we talk about China leading the way on a lot of this stuff, and then we end up seeing it implemented here.
I guess it's like in the United States, Denver, Colorado leads the way, hopefully.
So, I mean, I'll continue here, and then we'll
please.
Talk. So, I guess it's Weibo. This is like the Chinese social.
Yeah, Chinese Facebook or something, right?
Yeah. So one person said, "I'm going to die of laughter." Another Weibo user said, he said, "When you shoot people, they don't bleed, and the dead get up and wave goodbye. So when you kill somebody, they just wave goodbye to you." Says, you heard that, folks. In Game of Peace, a battle royale game about being the last player standing, when you shoot an enemy, they don't bleed and they don't die. They simply get back up and wave goodbye. This is the bizarre hellscape that we create with good intentions. It's funny, no doubt about it, but also a little chilling. Just because censorship is taking place in China doesn't mean we shouldn't worry about it into the West. And that's why this is not a distraction, because we have to look at this stuff. This is why just today we learned in a bill that would ban loot boxes and microtransactions from games directed at kids. That might not sound like a big deal.
That's a good thing.
I don't know. Is it a slippery slope? We'll see. Well, we'll see. It says that might not sound like a big deal. Why would we want kids spending money on microtransactions or loot boxes? But defining what exactly that means gives the state a great deal of power over something that should really be up to consumers and businesses.
Well, I'll tell you something though. I'll tell you, when it comes to these microtransactions, the best one I've seen an example of is the football game, right? FIFA. And you go in there, you can buy packs of players. And I think it's Belgium. I think they've banned it. Because basically what you're doing is you're asking kids to basically take part. They're betting. They're betting that they'll get a good player. It's like a lottery. You know, you can't have kids playing a lottery under the age of 18. Yet, when you're buying those packs in that game, it's blatantly just a lottery. And then you see them keep going. You're chasing. It's like a lottery ticket, man. I want that win. I want that good player. So I can see why some of them are a problem. Plus, you know, why don't these gaming companies concentrate on making the game a finished product without the ability to, you know, buy packs to increase yourself? It used to be good, Scott, when you could play a game and say you got like some special armor at level 20. That was like an achievement. You were really proud of yourself. You got to level 20. That's cool. And now somebody comes along with $50 and can buy it. It's just, I think it's killing gaming, dude.
Yes, I definitely have my issues with microtransactions and these games that come out as were they alphas that just always end up being alphas forever. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you're paying for an unfinished game that supposedly eventually is going to be finished, and it just always sitting in alpha
it's like
all the
that
time.
One we were speaking about yesterday, Star Citizen. You know, will it come out? Won't it come out? And they were talking about how some of the spaceships in this game, it's like a whole new universe. It's cool. It's awesome. $1,000 for a spaceship, real money, folks. $1,000
believable
for something. Exactly, Joe. It's not even a game that's out. It's still in development.
Some people will pay for that. I mean, there are people that are so into these games that some people will pay that price.
Dude, if I had $1,000, I'd buy a car. A real car.
I know, but I mean, it is kind of genius, don't you think? In as far as you know, if you put it out there, and what you do is you write is good enough and maybe played enough throughout. Let's just say, for example, like Candy Crush. You know, Candy Crush. Look at how much money did they make on that game?
I mean, yeah, man.
Oh, I can't even fathom.
My issue is like games that offer microtransactions that give you an advantage, like pay to win. You know, and then I don't like that. Now, there are games out there that have microtransactions that are merely cosmetic. Like if you want to make
Fortnite.
Sure, look. Yeah, Fortnite's like that. Path of Exile's like that. I think that's totally fine. You know, if you want to spend the money to look cool, that's you know, as long as it's not creating an uneven playing field, you know, the game.
Right.
You know, going back to this whole thing with China, you know, and you know, we're talking about these microtransactions, and it's not. My issue is we shouldn't have the state stepping in and controlling this. It's down to consumers and businesses. And I think you're seeing that a lot now as far as like the microtransaction thing, Kev, that you're talking about. There's a lot of pushback against that. A lot of people are pretty angry or, you know, upset, you know, with these game companies saying, you know, hey, this is ridiculous. You know, there's other ways that you can implement microtransactions that don't make it.
Don't spoil the game.
Yes,
exactly.
So finishing up here with this, it says, in any case, Chinese gamers can still play PUBG. It's just called Game for Peace now. And you can't kill your enemies, but shooting them will earn you a wave goodbye. So that's an interesting lesson to teach kids. This is the least of China's problems, of course, but symbolic of the communist country's overbearing statism and rigidity. And we should condemn it all the same, which I agree. They've basically stifled the creativeness of a game company, forced them to change it. It's like I was telling Joe, Kev, you know, I consider making games an art form. It's art. And so you're seeing the communist state in China deem this art offensive or deem it not, it's unacceptable to the state. So they forced them to go back and change it in order for it to be acceptable.
I go back to my original hashtag pesky chicom. Telling you, man, pesky.
And the reason they really had to do this was because China would not allow Tencent to offer microtransactions within PUBG unless they went and changed the game. So now they've allowed them to offer their microtransactions now that it's state approved, and that it I also think like the characters you play, they say that you're paying homage to the sky gods that protect the country, and the sky gods they refer to is actually the Chinese Air Force.
Holy shimoly.
Yeah. So you're battling in this battle royale in order to pay homage to the sky gods that protected the homeland.
It's ridiculous, dude. It's utterly ridiculous. But we've got another one on this kind of Chinese line, do we not, here, guys? Because we've got the headline here. And I think I've mentioned this company before. I Spy, inside Huawei's, I think that's how you say it, 1.2 billion, research and development campus where staff are forced to sleep under desks during hellish, endless shifts. It says here the vast...
Sounds almost like Amazon.
Yeah, the vast complex is packed with 30,000 workers and covers more space than London's Hyde Park. And you can see some of the pictures there. I'll play a quick bit of this video, see what it's showing us. Fair use, we're discussing it. Don't even go there. Don't even go there, YouTube. If it plays. There it is. Turn the volume down. 1.2 billion research development campus. Oh, it's very nice. It's got old-fashioned trains and things. Nice. Is this the whole place? Like, is that... This is the whole thing? Whoa.
I don't know. That's it. It's got its own train network.
Yeah, man.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they have huge facilities like that.
But this is the place. This is the place that Theresa May... This is the company, should I say, that Theresa May's given like the 5G government contract to put all like the 5G kind of infrastructure into government buildings and things, Joe. Let's not get into the fact that this is like basically the Chinese version of the CIA, basically, because they're bugging everything, dude.
They're bugging everything.
There's back doors into all of it, man. And our government, who know that, that's okay. We'll give it to the pesky Chicom.
But here's the thing. So you've got this going on in China, so they say, and very much so. But it's happening here. It's happening here in the United States. Where, this idea that what ends up happening is people work more and get less when you adjust the salaries for inflation. So over time, what happens is we work. Yeah, you get paid more by the hour, but the dollar doesn't go as far. The pound doesn't go as far. So then you have, instead of just dad working, now you got mom and dad working. Next thing you know, you got to work 2 jobs. Or you do what these poor people do and just work endless shifts. You don't know the reasons why they do it or what they do it for. A lot of it has to do, I'm sure, with greed on their end and having to put out. You got to remember, in the United States, Hawaii doesn't have really much of an influence here because I don't think we can install a lot of that equipment because of the stuff that they put in it.
Well, plus I think some of your government rightly said, UK, if you are going to go with this mob, don't be expecting to be sharing any kind of intel with us or anything like that. Hell no. Right. But in reality, though, aren't the Chinese, the Americans, they're all in bed together, dude?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's all bullshit.
And these like, they're basically work communes or work communities.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Everything is built
around an industrial complex. Yeah. Same shit.
Yeah, everything is built around the factory or built around the facility, and basically everybody just lives on site.
Like a smart city. It's all they are. These these provinces, like if you start looking into these provinces, a lot of these provinces are centered around their industrial center. And you have your industrial center, then you have like the dormitories, if you will, and it's just a very small community, but boy, is it controlled. It is as 1984 as 1984 gets.
It's okay. Don't stop knocking it. Some of the employees get to play with Lego. Come on, it's not that bad. You get to sleep at your desk. You get to play Lego. You get a fancy train ride to work. What's wrong with these people?
3 squares a day, you get a uniform. Hey, life is good.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you.
They provide just the basic necessities for them, and they're able to basically live on site and work those endless shifts.
Epic says, how is this any different from for-profit prisons? It's not.
Lego, no, it's absolutely not.
Lego, that's different. You don't get Lego in the prison. That's the only difference I can see. What do you think, Joe? Do you get Lego in the prison?
I don't think so.
No, 7 bits of Lego, maybe heading up one of your orifices. Maybe you could take them in with you. We could ask that chick. She seems to know how to pack a bit of Lego.
Yeah, she is smuggling Legos in her coochie.
Oh my god! And going back to Joe's point about what's happening in China is actually happening here.
It is,
but just under another, it's just under another look. The curtain looks different. But going back to the game thing, people, being outraged about the PUBG thing, and then making it patriotic. Look at a lot of the propaganda that's in our games.
Yeah.
That are here in the United States, right? I mean, look at Call of Duty. Look at the glorification of the U.S. military.
That's right.
Look at all of that stuff. We promote we promote propaganda in our video games, just as much as China does, except China just told them, hey, you have to change it. So it was
Scott, remember, it used to be like a few years ago, any kind of war game, you'd be in like the sandbox of the Middle East or something like that, and it would be, Arabs that you'd be fighting against. They'd be the bad guys, right? Terrorists. But then, more recently, it's those pesky Russians. We're fighting the Russians again, right? Ever since Ukraine and all that, the Russians are the ones we need to watch in games now. It's programming. It's plain and simple. It's programming, So
yes, exactly. So it's not as overt here in the U.S. as it is in China, right? But how many times have you, and I know you've seen it too, Kev, where the video game developers are like, we had somebody from the special forces consulting with us on developing the game, or they have these consultants come in to make the game as realistic as possible. But how are they, who's really consulting them?
Where next?
Yeah, no doubt.
Where next?
Okay, so let's go to these the Blue Moon. And I'm not talking about that cheesy 50s song. I'm talking about Jeff Bezos' plans. And specifically, The Atlantic says Jeff Bezos has plans to extract the moon's water. Now, listen to this. Between the shipping and handling, the web servers, the groceries, and the newspapers, Jeff Bezos never stopped thinking about the moon. He was 5 years old when Americans first walked on the lunar surface, and he remembers the grainy black and white footage from the historic moment. He says it's had a huge impact on me, and it hasn't changed. Bezos, in addition to leading Amazon and owning the Washington Post, runs a spaceflight company called Blue Origin. Blue Origin has been working on something for the past 3 years, and on Thursday, Bezos unveiled it. A giant spacecraft designed to touch down gently on the lunar surface, plus a small rover with a droopy camera eyes like Wall-E.
Dude, that's the worst spaceship I've ever bloody seen.
It's almost as bad as the lunar lander from the 60s, dude.
It's terrible, isn't it, man?
With its gold foil. Yeah. Says this is an incredible vehicle, says Bezos, beaming Kev at his beautiful vehicle. And he says, and it's going to the moon.
It looks like his head. Look at his head. And then look at the big blue ball. I mean, blue moon.
Blue ball. Yes, well, we're getting there. If this news seems like it's coming out of, well, the blue, that's because Blue Origin isn't the flashiest company. It's conducted much of its work in secret and rarely holds press events. But the company, Bezos has said, is the most important work that he's doing. He's spending about $1 billion a year on it, collected from selling off his Amazon stock. So far, the work has stayed close to the ground. Blue Origin has carried out nearly a dozen successful flights of its New Shepard rocket, named after Alan Shepard, the first American to go to space. The rocket hurtles upward until it reaches the edge of space and then descends and lands vertically on the ground. Bezos wants to use New Shepard to fly space tourists, perhaps as early as this year. That's one dream. The moon is another kind.
It's a big dream, I'm telling you.
That's right, but it requires a different type of technology. The lander revealed on Thursday, a mock-up, is called Blue Moon. It's sleek, hulking, and insect-like with spindly legs to cushion the landing.
Spindly legs like Mad Bezos. He's a weird-looking cat, dude.
He is. And here's the plan. Are you ready?
I'll go for it.
Before touching down on the lunar surface, Blue Moon will dispatch a bunch of tiny satellites, depositing them into orbit around the moon, where they can collect scientific data. Then it will fire its engines and begin its approach. Less than a mile from the surface, it will rotate itself to land upright. The underbelly is equipped with lasers to guide the spacecraft to its target landing zone. Once on the ground, robotic arms will lower a rover, perhaps as many as 4, onto the dusty, slate-covered ground. Bezos said engineers are ready to begin engine tests as early this summer. But there are some noticeable gaps in the plan. The lander must be launched into space on a rocket. And Bezos didn't say which one. He didn't say when it might fly either, but he said enough, especially to the people he made sure were listening.
How long is he planning on staying there that they need to find a water supply? Can he not take water with him? I mean, is he planning on not coming back?
He kind of gets into it a little bit. See, the big reveal was held at a conference center about 5 minutes drive from the White House. In March, Vice President Mike Pence announced that NASA would undertake a mission to the moon and return American astronauts to the surface in 2024. It's an ambitious plan and currently unfunded. NASA has yet to tell Congress, which determines the funding for the agency, how much the effort will cost. NASA has solicited proposals from U.S. commercial spaceflight companies to help, and many, mostly startups, small startups, have jumped at the chance. And that's now includes Blue Origin, which leads the pack in spaceflight experience. Bezos spoke effusively about the new policy in Pence vision. He invited Mark Sarangelo, a space professional whom NASA hired to guide the new effort, to be essentially Trump's moon czar to the event. Bezos declared, with a squinty eye, you got to have the squinty eye, "It's time to go back to the moon, Arg. This time to stay."
See, if you were bald, you'd look like him, dude.
Yeah. In the vision he lays out.
No, good luck.
In the vision he lays out, Bezos went beyond the moon. Earth's resources, he warns, are finite. Someday they'll be depleted, and humankind will be forced to look for other homes. He said, "Space is the way to go," he said. But he eschewed popular destinations such as Mars, which his colleagues in the space biz, Elon Musk, dreamed of tearing up like an old carpet to construct a new Earth-like environment. Bezos offered an argument made famous by Goldilocks. Other planets, he said, are too small. They're too far. They don't have enough gravity. Instead, human beings should build habitats in orbit around the Earth, perpetually rotating it to provide artificial gravity, a concept popularized in the 1970s by American physicist Gerard O'Neill. These manufactured worlds, Bezos said, could each house 1 million people or more. Some habitats would be cities, others national parks. Some might even recreate famous places on Earth. All, according to the animations Bezos shared, would be idyllic, with perfect weather all year round. People are gonna want to live here, he said.
Not with
And
him.
what happens to the Earth in the interstellar-esque future? why the planet would be zoned for residential and light industrial use. The heavy pollution-causing stuff would exist in one of those off-world habitats.
Wah,
So
wah, wah. Well, you know, obviously, since he's a billionaire trying to get to space, you knew that Elon Musk would react to this, right? And we'll take a look at what Elon had to say about this. Yes. Oh, stop teasing, Jeff. And then if you look at the picture down here, no, not Blue Origin, Blue Balls. Yes.
Blue balls.
Miss.
Speaking of that, Ange just sent me something, Kev. This is kind of crazy. I'm going to send you this link.
Well, while you send me that, I'm thinking, Scott, okay, all right, you know, this is one thing. Musk having a bit of fun about the Blue Origin, the blue balls, but is Musk actually a better prophet than Paul Begley? Because here we are now, days later, and there's an outbreak of blue balls on the way. Hashtag SexStrike.
Wow.
You know, I mean, looking at the design of that lunar lander, I definitely prefer Musk's aesthetic choices.
Absolutely,
oh yeah, dude.
Uh,
Absolutely. Musk's capsules and all that kind of look so much better than the blue balls.
Well, let's just hope Geordie is as good as his word, and he has a little word with Elon, and we see the
Here's
big man
another
on
thing I want-
KBS one day.
Remember we were talking about that DARPA challenge where they were wanting these different space agencies to get up into orbit as fast as possible, and there was like this one mystery agency or this one mystery company. I think that's probably Blue Origin.
Could be.
It's one of the only ones I can think of, to be honest with you.
Because, you know, we just talked about right there how secretive they are. They don't like to be in the public spotlight. They do a lot of things behind the scenes.
But like you say, though, I mean, how are they going to take part in this when they can't even get their own bloody lander up to the moon? They don't have rockets. Do they have rockets? In fact, I'm sure I've seen Blue Origin landing rockets not long ago. Reusable ones.
I think they just landed one, or they just released some video on doing the vertical land thing.
Yep.
You know, so they're really trying to compete with Musk on that front.
I think, well, here's the thing with Musk and SpaceX. Musk and SpaceX get a ton of federal funding. Like, Musk is the grand master of the grant. He knows how to get grants and knows how to solicit funds from the government, whereas Blue Origin's completely private. There's no government, but that's not to say they don't. Amazon has huge government partnerships with like cloud-based computing and things like that. So it's not, he doesn't have the experience.
It's all a matter of the money being reshifted here and there.
Right.
And the money's getting where it needs to go, and it's coming from where it needs to come from.
Exactly.
And I'm sure that D-Wave crunching the numbers that he's got in his basement is probably helping him crack the whole rocketry thing and getting to the moon on time, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Certainly won't be doing him any harm. Joe, what have you sent me here?
Jesus, have mercy. So Ange just sent me this. Apparently Snapchat has a new filter that makes adults look like children.
What?
And that these children are, people are making fake porn videos of children by utilizing this filter.
Okay, there's nothing dodgy in this video, is there?
I don't think so.
Right, I'll play the first minute of it.
Not that I know of.
And this is from a channel called Surviving Life. We're going to be discussing this, so obviously fair use comes into play. But as it says on here, please share this video to help expose the deep fake child media production filter on Snapchat. Wow. Here we go.
Extremely clear that every single person in this video is over the age of 18. Every single image you're going to see is of a mature, over the age of 18 individual using a Snapchat filter. I would just like to repeat this one more time. Every single image, every single video inside this film that you're about to watch right now
Scottish.
is an 18-year-old or over.
Yeah,
Someone
dude.
who's 18
It's the
or
accent.
over using a Snapchat filter. None of the people in this are under the age of 18. One more time. Everyone in this video is over the age of 18 using a Snapchat filter. Let's go. How you doing, guys and girls? So I woke up this morning, thought it was going to be a normal day. Seen a friend of mine and community members' Instagram story, and it changed everything today. So I'm calling out Snapchat. I'm calling you out for facilitating the creation of deep fake child pornography, and I'm going to showcase that here and now. Sit back and let's have a look.
Now, there's not going to be anything dodgy, folks. Don't panic. Don't panic. It's adults. We've seen that at the start. Here we go.
This is not okay. This is supporting something that we all should be aware of.
Whoa!
How do you like that shit? Whoa!
And the dangerous thing is that it's kind of funny, and it's kind of a thing.
Look at that.
It's neither funny nor a thing. It shouldn't be a thing, and it's not funny. I mean, look, I use these photo filters sometimes, put a hat on, put stupid things on, cool, fun and games, right? Good laugh at yourself. But like this guy says, what the hell's Snapchat doing, giving a filter that you can turn yourself into a child? I don't get it.
Yeah, me neither.
What's the point of that?
Let's fast forward, see some more.
Child porn filter. I don't care how you want to repackage it, Snapchat. You're not an idiot, okay? The whole company of Snapchat, you're not stupid. You understand what you've created here, okay? And you're going to facilitate some very, very vulgar creations on your platform. Now, I thought to myself this afternoon when I seen this, I wonder how many people have this filter. I wonder how easy it is for people to use. So I done a community shout out on Instagram and on my Discord, and the rest of this video has been put together with segments created by the community. So big shout out to the community, and I just want to reiterate, everyone in the content you're about to see is over the age of 18. Now, Snapchat, you've got a lot to answer for, and once you've watched this, you're going to find out what you need to do to fix this. I'm not playing.
Whoa!
Wow.
Whoa!
Good show, guys. Cheers. I just wanted to hear our beautiful bot lady say Big Blue we would. Like to see you break it down, homie.
Oh, it didn't even say blue balls.
I know, isn't that crazy?
Shut down by the bot.
Here we go. This is weird, man. That's scary.
Hell yeah, dude, look at that.
Hang on, I'll wait for that super chat to go away because it's like blocking the faces. But this is I mean, I've got Snapchat. I've not looked at any of the filters like this.
No, me neither. Not like that. No. It's one thing to have like bunny ears on you or something like that. It's another thing to make yourself look like a freaking.
Whoa! No! Whoa! Just whoa.
Dude. I mean, think about that. You do that, and then you basically make pedo videos, pedo child porn videos with that stuff. And it just goes to show you the power of deepfake. You know?
I'm just sharing that on Twitter.
Crazy.
It's just, it's vile.
That's wrong. Totally wrong.
But that's the thing. You know, it's what I keep saying. The sexualization of kids is becoming more and more pervasive. But it's entertainment. How is that entertainment? It's sick and twisted.
Yeah.
And you can already see that these Instagram model women, you know what I mean, that all they do is post scandalous photos of themselves. They're going to be using this filter as a ha funny, you know, and it's
make a joke out of it, make light out of it. How do you make light out of that?
Well, listen, folks, I want you all to subscribe to this channel. I'm going to drop it in the chat room. It's surviving life. Joe's wife has mentioned this channel to me before,
Yeah.
so that's how I know
Yeah,
it's actually good. But warning, it's not for the faint-hearted because it deals with some of those dodgier things going on in the world. Okay,
he really gets in. He's a kind of a. It's funny because I think he's in your neck of the woods there, Kev.
Yeah, I know, but he went down the whole John P. Madeline McCann road.
Yeah, but a lot of people, that's the thing, is it's so pervasive. Sometimes people go down that road because it's I don't know. It's easier to it's easier, but B, it's like, oh man, what a great person to blame. You know what I mean? It's like, oh man.
No, I know.
It's almost wishful thinking in a way, like if there was, then this would be good if it was, because they suck.
Just a guy, I wish I was like you. He doesn't have any social media stuff where he is. And I know I only contact just a guy through email. Great guy.
Yeah.
And, social media, if I could take it away tomorrow, I honestly think I would. And I know, Scott, you came up with some really good points why it's good. And again, my mum, she's like over 100 miles away. I don't phone her anymore. A Facebook camera, so I get it that there are things on there. There's people I would never be able to get a hold of. I don't know their phone numbers,
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, I would, if I could take it away tomorrow, I would. I'm just saying that doing that is completely unfeasible now. I mean, it wouldn't.
It's like it's like when mobile phones first came in, Scott. You had like a lot of people going, "Oh, never need one of them," right? And then before you know it, we're into smartphones and everyone's got one. And it was the same with social media. You had some people at the start. I remember I was one of the first in my work to have one of these Facebook profiles, and all my mates like, "Oh, come on, Kev, what shite is that?" Do you know what I mean? And now here we are. Now over 2 billion users. How many of them are real? I don't know, but most of the people I know, they're all on Facebook. I don't know many people that aren't. Just a guy. That's about one of the people. That's one of the few.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so ingrained in society that if you were to remove it, I mean, I think it would. People that think that they would be fine without it will end up finding that they depended on it a lot more than they thought. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. But this Snapchat filter thing, that is some creepy shit, dude.
That is one of the most. I mean, we've talked about deep fakes before, Scotty, and I know people say they're crap, they're fake. Well, they're not, because there was the software out there that you could get before it all disappeared. It's very real, and it's getting better and better and better all the time, which is even scarier. And that's why even Scott, it's to the point now where you just don't know what you're looking at unless you're in the flesh with somebody, and even then, but if it's on a screen, you really have to be very open-minded at what you're looking at.
Yeah, I mean, just seeing some of the stuff. I mean, you could. I think. I don't think you would get in trouble for showing it or anything if you looked up like a Nicolas Cage deepfakes on YouTube, where they would replace like people from Superman in the Superman movie. They would replace their faces with Nick Cage, and it looked like he was playing the role. It was so weird, and so trippy looking. But they're good. They're real good. See? Yeah. Deep faking him into the.
Yeah, that's. It just shows you, doesn't it?
Look. Deep faking him into as Thanos.
Wow. So yeah, deep fakes, folks. I mean, I know me and Scott have had many people telling us before that, nah, it's all fake. No, not fake. Definitely doable. Definitely. As we're seeing here. But I think while we're on this, Scott, talking to social media and stuff like that, maybe perhaps would be the time. No, we'll leave it for the end, the warning from our guest during the week about social media. I think that would probably be the best way to take the show out. So I'm going to have a look around here, see what else we've got. What else we got in the pipeline here? Here we go. Here's one here. This is maybe not deep fake kind of stuff, but still along the same kind of line. Social media, privacy, boom. How facial recognition became a routine policing tool in America. The technology is proliferating amid concerns that it is prone to errors and allows the government to expand surveillance without much oversight. So it comes on to say down here, in August 2017, a woman contacted the how do you say that, Scott? Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office in Colorado. So, see, I need some of the mushrooms that are now legal in Colorado to be reading this one out. With what it seemed like a simple case. After a date at a bowling alley, she discovered $400 missing from her purse and asked the manager to review the surveillance footage, which showed her companion snatching the cash while she bowled a frame. But despite the clear evidence, the search for the bowling companion floundered. The woman knew only his first name. He'd removed his profile from the dating site on which they'd just met. His number, now disconnected, was linked to a hard-to-trace burner phone, and security video captured his car in the parking lot, but not its license. So the investigator, Tara Young, set the case aside to work on others. It sat on a shelf until early 2018 when she ran into a colleague who was testing out the department's new facial recognition system. Now, Young gave the officer a picture of the bowling companion taken from the victim's cell phone. He plugged it into the software and up popped a mugshot shot of a man who looked a lot like the date thief. It was Young's first experience with facial recognition, one of the most powerful and controversial technology innovations of the 21st century. It gave her a dormant case new life, and it showed her its potential to transform policing. Her investigation, quote, would have been at a dead end without facial recognition, Young said. It's huge. It says here the technology-driven revolution in policing is unfolding in big cities and small communities around the country. As more police departments purchase facial recognition software, the government facial biometrics market, which includes federal, state, and local law enforcement, is expected to soar from, get this, 136.9 million in 2018 to 375 million by 2025. That's according to an estimate by market research firm Grand View Research. Driven by AI, facial recognition allows officers to submit images of people's faces taken in the field or lifted from photos or video and instantaneously compare them to the photos in government databases, mugshots, jail booking records, and driver's licenses. Unlike DNA evidence, which is costly and can take a laboratory days to produce, remember it used to take months to get DNA back? Facial recognition requires little overhead once a system is installed. The relative ease of operation allows officers to make the technology part of their daily work. Rather than reserve it for serious or high-profile cases, they are using it to solve routine crimes and to quickly identify people they see as suspicious. Now, that's pre-crime, is it not, right? Identifying somebody because they seem suspicious?
No. Pre-crime?
Profiling?
No, it's not profiling.
No.
They always find some other way they describe. Oh, no, it's not profiling. We would never do that.
Just a guy bang on again. Fusion centers are doing it already. Absolutely.
Right.
And I suspect all of your data that's coming from your Alexas and everything else in America, I wouldn't be surprised that after the AI's picked out the golden nuggets in it, then it'll go to the fusion center and it'll try and make a bit more of those patterns that us humans, we just can't see, right? This data, that's where it's all going, especially in America anyway, the fusion centers, right? They're like data capture centers, really. That's all it's about.
Yeah, remember that used to be a big topic, among
before QAnon came along, before Donald Trump, before all this stuff, before people were crying.
Everybody was talking about the threat fusion centers and how they were collecting data and scooping up data on everybody, for law enforcement purposes. And, now that everybody is kind of distracted with other things right now, the fusion centers are still there. They're doing their thing, so,
I was actually saying to
wild.
somebody today, they were talking about Alexa, and I was laughing. I was saying, you're mad having Alexa in your home. And they're like, why? Why is that mad? You're mad for not having one. I'm like, 5-10 years ago, imagine somebody came to your door and offered to install cameras in every room.
Same difference, right?
And microphones, and there was going to be somebody listening to you 24/7, somebody you don't know. And then with your information, they could do whatever they want with it, blackmail you, sell it, do what they want. Would you have allowed that? Well, that's totally different. I'm like, no, it's not different. The only difference is you went and paid a shitload of cash to get the technology into your home. That's the only difference.
Yeah, you actually paid for it.
Yeah.
Come spy on me, and I'll pay you to spy on me.
At least that hypothetical guy I made up, Scott, he was offering to do it for nothing.
And then we had the story come out that said that, thousands of Amazon employees were listening in to people's Alexa conversations.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I mean, you couldn't ask for, this is like the CIA's wet dream, man. You know what I mean? What they wanted, they couldn't even fathom doing something like this. They're like, wow, we've got the people willingly bugging themselves. That's amazing.
Yeah. That's what I can't get over, the fact that we are actually helping to build the infrastructure of the panopticon around us,
Through the technology and the culture of convenience.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, what better way to do it than to get the people to do it themselves? It's the same with Facebook and social media, right? Instead of putting together a dossier on somebody, right? You've got like your East German Stasi or whatever. They put together a dossier on somebody, and they pull out the folder of everything that they've collected on them. They don't need to do that no more because you're creating your own dossier. You've pretty much created your own dossier, and all they have to do is just go, okay, go look at a social media page.
That's right.
Let's pull up his Alexa conversations.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
I think at this point, probably a good time to play our little video message from somebody about the dangers of social media. Stuff
we'll
like
do that and
yeah.
head on out into the sunset.
Yes, well, I'll pull up the right bit here. I think I know roughly where it is. Find it here. Yeah. Okay, so the other day, if you didn't know, if you've just returned from the moon or something, Geordie Rose. Yeah, we've all spoke about Geordie Rose for years, and I decided, well, what better to do than go and speak to Geordie Rose, right, instead of speculating about him and things like that.
Exactly.
So we got him on. He talked about his quantum computer. He addressed the altar to the alien god. He kind of explained what it means to go into other dimensions. Parallel realities. He was quite adamant it wasn't a dimension, it's a parallel reality, and you take back some kind of imprint from there. That's the resources he was talking about. Yeah, wasn't clear with me either. He didn't quite answer that one as fully as I would have liked. He also told me that the synths, they're not going to be indwelt with these evil spirits. Now listen, well, as always, I provide, you decide. You make your own mind up as to what Geordie was talking about. Me personally, I had an absolutely brilliant time with the guy. Checked in early in the morning, highly professional, highly polite, great guy. So people hate me for saying that. However, I was the guy who decided we maybe should talk to him. But there was other things that came out in the interview that, like I was saying to Scott, I think was far more important for all of us than the D-Wave. None of us are going to get our hands on a D-Wave at 15 to 20 million, folks. But social media, we've pretty much all got our hands on that. And when somebody who hangs about with Bezos and Musk and all these other shakers and movers over there in Silicon Valley, when somebody like that tells you to be wary of social media, I don't know. I think it's probably prudent that we take note. Let's take a listen to what the big man, yes, the devil incarnate himself has to say. I'm only joking. I don't think that anymore. Here we go. Geordie Rose.
The people I'm interacting with. My responsibility is
Hang on now. Why am I hearing two things there? Wait a minute. Scott, can you play this on your end if I give you the time? There's something up with my soundboard.
Yeah, go ahead. Just
here you go. Yeah, I'll drop it here. If you go to 1 hour and 17 minutes, dude, you'll be able to play the kind of audio.
Okay. Give me a second, and I will do that. I'll pause for a sec, or I'll mute for a second so I don't. 1 minute or
somebody
1 hour.
Mentioned Sliders in the chat room. Geordie was saying that was one of his favorite shows, Sliders, back in the day. Says it probably ages him, but Joe's shaking his head as well, so we're all aged by that one. Do you like Sliders, Joe? Awesome stuff, man. So we're going to listen to this little warning from, or at least what Geordie says about social media, big data. Somebody in the chat room asking if we're getting him back on. If we don't get Geordie back on, which I can't see a problem with in the future, he is going to throw some of his scientists our way, so we'll get to speak to them. So, Scotty, take it away.
Yeah, so 1 hour 17?
1 hour 17, yeah, about that. Well, 1 hour... 1 hour 17:22.
All right.
There you go.
Okay, I'll just start here.
Just to wrap this up, but folks, Geordie Rose will be right back. Like that music, Joe.
Okay, we're coming back.
One of the technological geniuses of our time, Geordie Rose, right here for all of you today on the Kev Baker Show. Geordie, can't thank you enough for your time, sir. We've got a couple other things to get into, but we were talking during one of the previous breaks about how we need to get you over to Scotland, man. You would rock a kilt for sure, dude.
Well, at some point I thought that I was of Scottish ancestry, but it turns out it's not true. But that's a story for another day.
Alistair Crowley's old house is up for sale, so we could start the rumour that you're looking at that. That would be perfect, right? So we're going to put that bit back as well. But no, again, all joking aside, thanks for hanging out with me today. You've certainly given me a couple of things to think about. I'll need to go back and listen to this show a good couple of times before it's all going to sink in. And again, thank you for bringing this technology to the world. Whatever way people view it, good or bad, you've certainly changed the game, and not many people can really come along and say that. Now, before the break, we were touching on social media. I've got a 17-year-old. You've got children as well. And the impact that that's having long-term, who only knows? And I think you worry about this as well, Geordie, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I view social media as being the primary near-term. Well, there's two things that AI is now doing that I think are potentially things that we have to think about very carefully. So one is when you join a social network, you provide a lot of data about yourself to the network, and the more data that is available to the company that you're providing it to, the better that they get at predicting the sorts of things that you'd want to buy, the kind of person that you are, who you'll vote for, etc. And that's not all bad, but people need to realize that your value to the network is more about selling your information to people who can use it to an end that you might not want. So in the case of an election committee, I can, if I'm one of these giant social networks, know pretty clearly who you're going to vote for. And even if I don't know that, I might be able to know what to tell you in order to sway your opinion in a particular way. That is exceptionally dangerous to the whole idea of Western democracy. So that's one thing. The other thing that you have to watch out for in AI, of course, is automation, because people are going to be competing with machines for jobs in the near future, and autonomous driving is the sharp end of the wedge there, where a lot of people make a living driving, and that could all go away in the not too distant future. But the social media thing is a lot more insidious because you don't see it. If somebody loses a job to an autonomous truck, you see it. There's Joe, your neighbor, and he's no longer working because this truck is driving around. If somebody is trying to influence you to vote a certain way, you don't see it because it's hidden behind all of this kind of illusion world that is the social media networks, and you may be manipulated and you don't even know it. So I think that is a much bigger problem for the long-term health of society. If Western democracies can't function, then that is a much bigger problem than job loss. And that's, the big issue I have with social media isn't so much the social media, it's the uses to which it's being put on a regular basis without informing the people that are using it that this is the way that it's being used.
There you go, Scott. There you go. I think when Geordie's telling you that, and Joe, I think you said you're losing your job, dude. That's not very good news, man.
That's not good news for me.
He said after the show, that Joe Joseph, man, tell him to get a haircut or something. That's not
Yeah,
looking
get
good.
a haircut.
No, but all joking aside, I mean, Geordie Rose doesn't work in Silicon Valley. You know, he's got companies there. He knows what these people are doing with your data, you know. So when he tells you, you know, that this is a problem and it can be influencing you in ways that you don't know. We've been talking about how the world's getting angrier, how the world's getting more mental, how it's getting more crazy. How much is social media playing into this? How much is that pushing it?
You know, it's got to be significant.
Big time.
I mean, it has to be significant, especially the whole echo chamber thing. If you're angry and you bounce it out of there, you know, it just gets bounced around and amplifies and angrier. Everybody gets angry, you know?
Absolutely. So
yeah,
I think on that note, on that little warning from Mr. Rose, and I know people out there are never going to like Geordie Rose. Some people change their opinion. I changed my opinion. Can I promise you, can I assure you that everything he's doing is good intentioned? What I got from Geordie was, he doesn't look at good and evil. He's never been into God, the devil, either way. He's more a sci-fi, he's more a techie kind of guy. People will believe that or they won't. That's totally up to you. But I think it was only fair that we gave the guy at least a platform to respond to the hours of abuse that I have given him over the years. Honestly, that was a very humbling moment, Joe, when you speak to somebody for the first time that you've been absolutely... I've called him a warlock. I've called him a Satanist.
Well, I mean, it's an easy way to be obsessed, you know, when you start having people that create this type of technology. You know, there's good and bad ways. It's like you say, there's a tool. A hammer can be destructive. It can be creative.
It's like he said, you know, he's just creating the technology. He's making machines that didn't exist before. What people go on to do with them after that, it's pretty much like a pen. The guy that invented the pen wanted a book wrote. He wanted notes taken. He didn't intend for anyone to poke somebody's eye out with it, but he can't be held responsible for that.
Been done.
There we go.
Well, I think it's time we say goodbye.
Yeah, Charlie Silverman. Yeah, it was great change from all the doom porn we watch.
Yeah.
Transhumanist, just a guy. No, he actually said he's a humanist. Towards the end of the interview, he said, I'm a humanist before anything else. And I don't think he agrees with the uploading of your consciousness. What he says is his ideal scenario would be us and the AI taking on some outside, some external force, but working together, us and the AI. So take from that what you will. We'll be back tomorrow. We love every single one of you out there.
And shout out to Dwarf Vagina that followed us on the live. It's an excellent name.
And Epic says he didn't talk about summoning the old ones. Nah, he didn't. But from what I took from the whole interview was that was what he done his reading on. He was in H.P. Lovecraft. Some people go to Sunday school. Geordie was into weird science fiction, you know, so you're going to compare it to what you know. A Christian will see something nasty and horrible and call it a demon. A Muslim will call it a jinn. Geordie Rose will call it an H.P. Lovecraftian old one. You know, where's the truth? It's just an evil thing, right? It's just bad. Name
based
it what
on
you will.
perception and interpretation based on life experience.
Exactly. So on that note, ladies, yes, I'm speaking to you in particular, Joe. We are out of here, but girls, ladies, women, if I can even call you that anymore, please, please, please think twice about #SexStrike. We're not all that bad. We're not, honestly. Please don't do it. Joe's just thinking, why did you say that, Kev? Because we need loving, Joe. We need loving in the world, man. We don't need blue balls. We need loving. So we are out of here, folks. Have a good one.